Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's actually a great segue. When you fail your classes in school, you don't graduate, right? This is tale as old as time. For the past 4 years, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have repeatedly failed the American people. So let's look at the report card. On the border, fail. Unleashing American energy, failing again. Growing our economy, fail again. Support American values, fail. The top leaders of the United States have consistently failed the American people. But it doesn't have to be this way. Let's start at the border, the first one. Under the Biden-Harris administration, we've seen 8.5 illegal encounters at our southern border, more than 10 across the board, 1.9 million gotaways. Drugs are coming across our border in record numbers. Over 500,000 pounds of meth have come across our border, 250,000 pounds of cocaine, 56,000 pounds of fentanyl, and these drugs are killing our kids every single day. On the first day of office, Biden and Harris issued 100 executive orders to reduce our border security. They've gaslit the American people about the seriousness of the border crisis. In fact, the ranking member in the House Judiciary Committee says that we were imagining a border crisis. They ended the Remain in Mexico policy. They stopped construction of the border wall. They established unlawful categorical parole programs. Kamala Harris even was deemed the border czar, but it took her 90 days to even visit the border after entering office. We've seen Americans killed by illegal aliens. We had a hearing on that in the House Judiciary Committee just last week. They forced children to vacate their schools and remote learn to make room for migrant shelters. And they've let terrorists in record numbers into the interior of this country. Next, let's talk about energy. On day one, they shut down construction of the Keystone XL pipeline that eliminated 10,000 good-paying jobs. On day one, the U.S. rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement without any consultation at all from Congress. They've banned LNG exports, pushing Europe further into the arms of Russia. They've tried to ban gas stoves. Their policies have led to skyrocketing gas prices under this administration. They have drained the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, arguably for political reasons. They insert climate change into every policy, which hampers domestic production. They block domestic mineral development in the United States, again, further pushing the rest of the world into China and getting those minerals. They've restricted energy development on federal land, and they've crippled our domestic energy production, which has harmed our national security. Next, on the economy. Everyone feels it. The only people that seem to be surprised are the ones on the other side of the aisle, but everyone's getting pinched. Overall, prices are up 20%. Inflation has outpaced wages for 26 straight months. The monthly mortgage payment for a median-priced new home has increased by $1,038. Interest rates are over 5%, the highest in over 23 years. Average weekly earnings, by the way, for employees have decreased in that same time, 4.5%. Credit card interest rates are at the highest level they've been in nearly 3 decades, and over a third of families paid a late fee in the last year. Moving on to the next one. Foreign policy. For starters, the Biden-Harris administration withdrew from Afghanistan. I don't need to talk much about that, given what has happened, given the catastrophe that happened there. That was a huge blunder. Unfortunately, the failures continue. The Biden-Harris administration has been incredibly mixed-messaged on whether to stand with Israel. Vice President Harris even went so far as to boycott Netanyahu's congressional address in this country. Biden and Harris have projected weakness on the world stage. That weakness, they have had weakness against the Iranian-backed Houthis, against Chinese aggression. They've handed billions of dollars to Iran, which has funded these terror activities in the Middle East. The U.S. Army has fallen 15,000 soldiers short of their recruitment goal in fiscal year 2022. There have been a complete lack of oversight for the funding of Ukraine. There's been grift all over the place. They allowed a Chinese spy balloon to traipse itself all across the country, eventually getting shot down in my coastal district of South Carolina. They allowed Cuba, a known state sponsor of terrorism, to tour the Miami TSA facilities. They've discharged troops for refusing the COVID vaccine. Let's talk about American values for a second. They've worked to insert DEI initiatives into every aspect of our lives. They allow males to compete in women's sports. Biden and Harris proclaimed Easter as the transgender day of visibility. They have been funding abortions and travel expenses through the Pentagon for military personnel. They have lied to the American people about Biden's cognitive state. I could go on and on and on. And so for somebody who wants a promotion to the highest office in the land, you first have to pass the test. And in every which way, Kamala Harris has not passed the test. She has not upheld her oath of office, and she has failed the American people, and we should not promote her. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.